I paid for everything. Rent, groceries, even his trips. I just didn't know he was taking another woman using my card. For a long time, I thought love meant sacrifice. And I sacrificed everything. Time, money, plans, even my intuition. When I met Lucas, I was in a good place. Living on my own steady job, finally healed from a toxic ex. Lucas came off like someone who got it, who understood what pain does to people. He said all the right things, told me he admired strong women, that he never hurt someone who had already been hurt before. And I naively believed him. In the beginning, it was sweet. He'd pick me up from work, make last-minute dinners in my kitchen, rub my feet when I said I was tired. He had this way of making me feel like I was finally safe. It didn't take long before he basically moved in. Funny thing though, I never actually saw his apartment. He always said it was too messy, or that he wasn't ready to let me into his space just yet. Said he liked being at my place because it felt more like home. At the time, I thought that was cute. Now, it makes me sick. I started covering everything. Rent, bills, groceries. I even added him to my Netflix account. He joked that I was the breadwinner and that someday, when his startup took off, he'd spoil me right back. Spoiler. There was no startup. Still, I didn't question it much. Not when he said his clients were late on payments. Not when he missed dinner because he was stuck in traffic on a client call. Not even when I'd hear his phone buzz at AM and he'd say it was just a business alert from an international market. I wanted to believe him. That was my first mistake. But the second? Letting him stay even when my friends started raising eyebrows. Why are you paying for everything? My best friend asked once. Because I can, I said. And he's just going through a rough patch. Truth is, I was scared. Scared that if I questioned too much, he'd leave. Scared I'd be alone again. So I kept my mouth shut. I kept swiping my card, paying for takeout, covering the Uber rides when he forgot his wallet. It became routine. Until one Sunday afternoon, I got a bank notification. A charge I definitely didn't make. At a hotel I'd never even been to. And Lucas? He told me he was working overtime that day. But the timestamp on the transaction said 2:41 p.m. and that was just the beginning. Cliffhanger emotional. At first, I thought it was a glitch. But something in me, something deep, finally woke up. I thought it was just one weird charge, but looking back, the signs were everywhere. I just didn't want to see them. That hotel charge kept haunting me. It wasn't the amount that bothered me, it was the specificity of it. The location, the timing, the fact that I knew exactly where Lucas told me he was that day, and it didn't match. When I asked him about it, he barely flinched. Oh, that? Must have been fraud or something. I'll call the bank later. He kissed me on the forehead and went back to playing his stupid game on the couch. And I let it go. But something in me had cracked open. I started paying more attention. Little things that used to seem harmless now felt off. Like how his phone was always on silent, face down. How he suddenly needed to step out to take work calls, even at PM, or how he started locking the bathroom door even when he was just brushing his teeth. Once, I asked to borrow his laptop. Mine had died, and I needed to send an urgent email for work. He hesitated, just for a second, but I noticed. Oh, let me just close some tabs, he said. Took him 3 full minutes to hand it over. 3 minutes to close tabs, and yet, I still made excuses for him. Still told myself I was overthinking, until I checked my bank app again, just out of curiosity, and found 7 Uber rides in the last 2 weeks I didn't recognize. All of them during times when Lucas said he was either at home or with me. One ride stood out. 10:38 p.m. on a Thursday. Pickup location? My apartment. Drop off? That same damn hotel. That was the moment I felt my stomach turn. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, I started digging. Quietly, I pulled up old statements. Found more charges that didn't make sense to dinners for 2, at places I'd never been. A Sephora purchase. A lingerie store I hadn't stepped into in months. And the worst part, they were all on my card. This man was cheating on me with my money. I felt disgusted, betrayed, but mostly ashamed. Ashamed that I'd been funding whatever double life he was living. Ashamed that I was so desperate for love I had ignored everything. But I wasn't going to lose my mind. Not yet. No, I needed proof, and I needed a plan. So I started watching him closely, pretending nothing was wrong, playing the same role he thought I'd always play. The quiet, supportive girlfriend. But inside, I was documenting everything. Every charge, every lie, every excuse. Because when I finally burned this bridge, I wanted to make damn sure it went up in flames. Cliffhanger emotional. He thought I'd never find out. That I'd keep paying for the fantasy. But I was done funding my own betrayal. He said he was working overtime. I said okay. But that Sunday, my phone lit up and the lie slapped me in the face. It was supposed to be a quiet weekend. Lucas had left early that morning, saying he had to meet a client across town. He even kissed me on the forehead, said, "Don't wait up. Might be a long day." I nodded, smiled. Inside, I was already tracking his lies. At 2:13 p.m., I was on the couch scrolling through job postings, half distracted, half wondering if it was finally time to move on from everything. Then my phone buzzed. Bank notification. Transaction approved. $87.6 lavish brunch and bar. I froze. That was a restaurant downtown. Trendy, not cheap. And definitely not somewhere Lucas and I had ever been together. I clicked into the app. There it was, timestamp, location, the exact amount. He was out having brunch, on my card, while I sat home, in my own apartment, thinking about how to rebuild my life. I felt something tighten in my chest. Not heartbreak. Not yet. Just rage. Hot, slow, burning rage. I screenshotted the charge. Then I did something I hadn't dared do before. I opened his iPad, the one he had accidentally left unlocked a few nights ago when he went to shower. He never thought I'd look. He thought I trusted him too much. He wasn't wrong. Until that moment. I went to the messages. It didn't take long. A thread named Babby Girl. I wish I was making this up. The messages were gross, obnoxious, full of inside jokes, pet names, and way too many photos I can't unsee. But one thing stood out. Love this morning. Can't believe she still hasn't figured it out. Don't forget to say you're at work, lol. Same excuse works every time. My hands were shaking. My mouth went dry. But I didn't cry. I took screenshots, sent them to myself, then dug deeper. This had been going on for months. Dinner dates, weekend getaways, little gifts, all of it, on my dime. There was even a video of the two of them, in my apartment, in my bed. She was wearing one of my hoodies. I think that's when something inside me shut off. No more doubt. No more excuses. No more love. Lucas wasn't just a cheater. He was a parasite. And he thought I'd never do anything about it. But that Sunday, that was the last day I stayed quiet. Cliffhanger emotional. He didn't know it yet, but I was done being the fool. From now on, every step I took was a step toward his exit. They thought I'd never find out, but I was done being gaslit, and I had receipts, literal, digital, undeniable receipts. After that Sunday, I became a ghost in my own apartment, present, smiling, saying all the right things, but watching, tracking, documenting. Lucas didn't suspect a thing. He still kissed me goodbye in the morning, still asked if I wanted anything from the store, still used my card with the same casual audacity. But every move he made, I was logging it. Every notification, every odd charge, every new lie. He said he had a client dinner on Thursday. Cool. My bank said he spent $140 at a jazz bar with a reservation for two. He said he was taking a nap? Weird. Because Uber said he was on his way to a rooftop lounge downtown. The best part? He was so arrogant. He didn't even clear his browser history. I found flights, hotel reservations, restaurant bookings, all linked to her name. Apparently, she thought I was the crazy roommate who didn't respect their privacy. She had posted a photo of them at a beach house I paid for with the caption, "Weekend with my man finally away from drama." Drama? You mean me? The woman paying for your romantic getaways? I felt sick. But I also felt something new. Control. Because for the first time, I had leverage. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to throw things. I was going to let them dig their own graves while I designed the headstone. So I went quiet. I stopped confronting, stopped questioning, started smiling more than ever. I let him think he'd won. Meanwhile, I opened a new bank account, transferred every dollar I could, changed all my passwords, canceled every auto payment tied to him, got a new credit card, and filed a fraud report on every unauthorized charge. I even talked to my landlord, explained the situation, quietly removed him from the lease. By the time he realized what was happening, it would be too late. And the cherry on top, I saved every screenshot, every receipt, every selfie he posted while claiming to be at work. I created a folder, labeled it Exit Strategy. It had a subfolder called Proof for Later. Because I wasn't just leaving. I was going to make sure the mask came off publicly, quietly, perfectly. Cliffhanger emotional. They thought I was blind. But I was wide awake, waiting for the perfect moment to disappear. And let the silence expose everything. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just started pulling the strings. And when it all fell, he didn't even see it coming. The day I chose to end it wasn't dramatic. No shouting. No crying. No broken plates. It started with breakfast. Lucas came into the kitchen half asleep, scratching his head like a lazy sitcom husband. "Got any coffee?" he mumbled. I poured him a cup, smiled, said, "You might need the caffeine today." He didn't catch it. He never did. By noon, my plan was in motion. The landlord sent him the lease termination notice, effective immediately. His gym membership cancelled. His phone plan shut off. It was under my name. Streaming accounts, locked out. The credit cards he used, declined. At 3:47 p.m., he texted me, "Babe, weird stuff's happening with my phone. Can you check?" I didn't reply. At 5:22 p.m., he tried to use the debit card at a gas station. Declined. At 6:01 p.m., he tried to call me. Blocked. I wasn't at home when he came back. I had already packed a small suitcase, booked a hotel under my own name, and left the keys on the kitchen counter along with something else, a printed packet, titled, "Here's what you did, and here's what I know." Inside were screenshots, emails, bank statements, her Instagram posts, the hotel bookings, the Uber rides, even the lingerie receipts, each page marked with a sticky note. "You said this was work. Guess this wasn't for me. She looks cute in my hoodie though." I didn't need to say a word. The evidence spoke for itself. I also left a note, handwritten, one line only. "You don't have to say sorry. I'm not waiting anymore." Then I walked away. No explosion, just a quiet, devastating collapse. Over the next few days, I heard he tried to reach out. Through friends, through fake numbers, through burner emails. I ignored them all. One of my friends texted me, Girl, he posted a black screen with "You never know what you've got till it's gone." He's spiraling. Good. Let him spiral. I didn't need revenge that screamed. I wanted one that echoed. And the silence was louder than anything I could have said. Cliffhanger emotional. I didn't ruin his life. He did. I just handed him the mirror and walked away before he could look me in the eye. He never apologized. Never explained. Just kept sending messages I never read. And honestly, I don't need answers anymore. It's been 5 months since I walked away. No dramatic returns. No closure texts. No "we need to talk." Just silence. At first, I expected it to hurt more. I braced myself for the loneliness, the what ifs, the grief, but it never came the way I imagined. What I felt, more than anything, was relief. Like finally taking off shoes that were 2 sizes too small and realizing you had blisters the whole time, but got used to the pain. Turns out, peace is quiet. And freedom doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes it's just a quiet morning in a clean apartment, where nobody lies to your face while sipping the coffee you bought. I moved into a smaller place. Just mine. No extra toothbrush by the sink. No disappearing hoodies. No drained bank account. Just me, paying for things I actually enjoy. Buying flowers that won't be forgotten on the table. Cooking meals without pretending I'm feeding someone who appreciates them. Some days are still strange. Not sad, just quiet. But I'm learning to enjoy the quiet. The truth is, Lucas never reached out with sincerity. Just panic. He never said "I'm sorry." He said "I miss you." He said "Can we talk?" He said "I messed up." But never once did he say, "I used you. I lied to you. I drained you." And that tells me everything I need to know. I used to fantasize about running into him somewhere, looking incredible, saying something clever, watching him crumble. But now, I don't even think I'd recognize his voice. Because I'm not the same person who let all that slide. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not bitter. I'm just done. And that's more powerful than revenge will ever be. This chapter is closed. I stopped waiting for apologies. I'm not who I was when this began. And no, he never saw it coming. But I didn't need him to. Sometimes walking away is the loudest thing you'll ever do.